I'm standing here with Professor Emeritus James C. McMillan at the African American Atelier in Greensboro, North Carolina. This particular atelier, this gallery, is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. It was co-founded by Professor McMillan and Representative Alma Adams 20 years ago. And Alma Adams is the curator of the gallery. And we're standing here on the occasion of the exhibition James C. McMillan, Loss and Redemption, a retrospective tracing almost 6 decades of your paintings and drawings and sculpture and other studies. So I want to ask you about your travel, actually, in art from your birth in Sanford, North Carolina, a small town, in 1925, which happened to be the very same year in which the great Howard University professor and philosopher Alain Locke edited and published the edition called The New Negro, which was a clarion call for a different way of perceiving African American people in the arts and in society. Also was, as some say, the start of the Harlem Renaissance. You were born in the South during this period. You went to Paris in the 50s to study at the acclaimed Académie Julienne. You have a degree from Howard. You have a degree from, I think, Catholic University in Washington, D.C. You did PhD studies also at Syracuse University. So how do you look back over your shoulder, the title of one of your pieces, to talk about and explain your journey?
I certainly, I don't know how really to respond to the wonderful presentation, I should say, of the show that we are now delighted to have here in Greensboro at the Academy, at the Atelier, where Dr. Adams and I were the innovators to begin this particular way to show young African-American artists as well as more established ones. I'm particularly, though, delighted to have as the representative show the work of the works that happen to be a collection of my own work, though, but by the perceptive group, and I will call them a group, the Heritage Gallery of California. And we've just heard and seen, of course, one of the members, Mr. Holmes, who is, of course, one of the associates, and, of course, Mr. Bradford, who is also an associate, and Mr. Primus, who is also an associate, who represent a very interesting kind of a geographic connection with this particular traveling exhibition. And, of course, I am simply awestruck by why I happen to be its focal point. But they represent, in so many ways, the thing that I would certainly appreciate and do appreciate, that they represent people who understand and can understand the importance of maintaining a connection with those of us who are involved in the continuity, should I say, of our heritage as African Americans. And in so doing, I would certainly like to thank the Heritage Association between the galleries at the Heritage Gallery, and that includes a member who is so important, and that is Charlotte Sherman. By all means, want to include her and keep her name before us as we give great honor to this collection of associates and collectors who have sponsored this particular show here at the Atelier here in Greensboro.
Thank you for that. Now, one of the reasons that we were able to accumulate so many paintings that are represented in this particular show and at the previous show in Bakersfield, California, at the Bakersfield Museum of Art, was because you had these pieces over a 6-decade period in your possession. How do you explain the fact that you had not previously parted with these pieces through sales?
I think that's a very important part of this particular collection that these gentlemen and lady own, because my work has never been created with the idea of their ever having the benefit of many of my contemporary artists that was in a market for sale. It's as though these paintings, for me, was a collection of things that to me were significant issues that was not only personal in that regard, but of a much more of a national and international matter, which I had to have some kind of a say on. And in so doing, my work really was a collection that was really already beginning to be the shelf storage for my retirement so that I could now be retired. We had, though, the great overview of Shania Harris, whom I want you to remember in this entire gala affair. She's the director of the galleries at A&T State University, who had heard about my work and wanted to look at them, and looked and was, I think, amazed at what she found, because they were all in bubble wrap and stashed on shelves in my little restricted studio, and she wanted to show them in an exhibition. That exhibition, though, took place in 2006, in which she presented this work that I had already placed in a storage mindset in my little studio. And it was at this exhibition, though, that the very insightful Mr. Holmes happened to be in the vicinity and saw it. And it was from that point that this work has been a significant collection of a twilight moving artist who was in a retirement mode.
Well, I'm sorry that we brought you out of retirement, but I think the art world and certainly the communities of Greensboro and the surrounding communities and the state of North Carolina are going to be very thankful that we did. And I want to thank you for all the hard work that you've done post-retirement, and that we look forward to your continuing to do so that we can enjoy more of your great work. On behalf of myself, Robert Holmes, and Patrick A. Bradford of New York, and Arthur Primus of Dallas, Texas, I want to again congratulate Charlotte Sherman and Dr. Alma Adams of the Atelier for their hard work, and Shania Harris in putting this together, but particularly to Dr. Adams. This process started over a year ago, and it's gone on rapidly, actually, to this fruition. And for all those who see this tape, I want to urge you to try to make it your business to get to the African American Atelier in Greensboro for this remarkable show of this remarkable artist. The show runs from March 20th to May 6th of 2011. Thank you.